I got started actually doing theater in high school. It probably would have been my freshman year, and I was in a spring musical that we did there. But on Saturdays we would have call and go in and work on the set. And so yeah, when I started high school, I was the kind of student that was into the arts, and it just grew to the point where by the time I was getting ready to graduate and was thinking about college and what I'd like to do, I was pretty set on theater. I felt like I had had some successes and ended up at a little school called Otterbein College outside of Columbus, Ohio. They had a really great theater program. It wasn't huge, but a lot of very talented people there, and so learned and grew a lot and got a lot of opportunities. That's where I did my first set design and won a competition. I had a work-study job in the scene shop and also worked in the costume shop some. Got bit by the theater bug, they say. Chomp. Yeah, and I still love it. I still really enjoy doing it, still enjoy being around theater people, and that says something because they're crazy. So if you still like being around crazy theater people at age 50, then you're a theater person, I think I was like a Nazi guard in Sound of Music. That was my first stage appearance, and I think the following year I was in the chorus for Carousel, and I think in the opening of Carousel I was a dancing bear, as I recall. And we did Guys and Dolls, so I was a gangster gambler slash mission band. I changed back and forth costumes. My senior year we did Fiddler on the Roof, and I played Tevye. If I didn't have the theater bug before that point, definitely playing that role really confirmed my decision, my desire to pursue theater at college. Goodness, have done so many different shows. I think the first one was a children's show at Otterbein, and then did costumes there at Otterbein for a show called Private Lives by Noel Coward, and then did my first production of Midsummer Night's Dream, did the set for that, and Equus, that was interesting. And lighting was never as much of a passion as the scenic design and scene painting. Really enjoy that artistic part of it. I played Daddy Warbucks in a production of Annie that happened one summer and at a community university collaboration called Ohio Valley Summer Theater. And I had done some scenic design and stuff for them. When they decided to do Annie, I'll audition for that. I hadn't been on stage for a while. Had a small role a couple years earlier, but I thought, well, that's kind of how it started for me, was being on stage. So it was kind of fun going back. And my daughter was one of the orphans, and just had a great time driving back and forth with her. It was about a 40-minute drive. She'd help me run lines and help me memorize music, and we just had a great time. She made some really good friends, and we had that time, 7 days a week in that car. That's theater, driving back and forth, and I think we did like 15 or 16 performances. It was a great experience. I came out of that with some great memories, and my daughter and I still talk about it. And an Agatha Christie called And Then There Were None. It's where the figurines are in the fireplace, and every time someone's killed, one of them fall, when the lights come back on, a figurine is fallen from the fireplace and is, broken on the hearth. The set was like the day room or main living area, great room of a mansion that was built on a very isolated island, very rocky, And so this house was built on a cliff overlooking the sea, and it was kind of inspired somewhat by Frank Lloyd Wright. Had some of those elements. I mean, I don't think you'd go, oh, this is his such and such house, but people kind of got that sense from it, and I felt really good about that design. Another one, might have been Circus Beckett, which was actually not a play per se. Beckett never wrote a play called Circus Beckett, but it was a collection of his shorter works, and then went through and chose what we would include in the show based on, you know, what the costumer or I or the lighting designer kind of followed our inspirations in terms of interpreting, you know, Beckett, and being true to his intent, but putting it in the context of a kind of well-traveled, well-worn circus. Not a pretty, flashy, shiny Barnum and Bailey circus, but a circus nonetheless. It was a relatively simple set. Brecht and his theater of alienation, you know, where he wants the audience estranged from what's happening on the stage. So we came up with a set that was partially finished, but then had elements that were intentionally unfinished looking, or a structure that wasn't covered. The whole idea being that there are elements of the set, the costumes and the style of the acting that cause the audience to break and not be totally sucked in, you know, and caught up in the emotion of the play.